welcome live from Missouri, the Grow Trade Fest out here in the beautiful Lake of the Ozarks at the Four Season Cannabis Education, finally making an appearance in Missouri. I'm Medicinal Mike. This is We'd Like to Talk. Big shout out and thank you to Green America, Empire, Big Reds, and everybody else out there. Usually I'm shouting out this show, but now we're here and we're going to bring some of this to you. So we're not live right here, right now, like we usually are, but we're pre-recording. And today I'm sitting here with Bryan Buckley from Hellman Valley Growers Company.
Boom.
And Bryan, you were career military?
Yeah, I spent 9 years in the military, United States Marine Corps.
Oh, what did you rank at?
Captain.
Oh, that's real military. What's it like, and we'll get into the topic,
yeah.
What's it like coming out of the military, especially at a level, because you were doing something that's, violent, I would imagine, because you're built like you're ready to handle shit. Like if this whole place got hostage taken over, this is our Bruce Willis right here. You find Bryan, we're getting out of this building.
That's a sad thought.
What's
We're screwed.
I was really good at reading blueprints. What's it like coming out and having to shift back into reality? Is it like the same mindset that a prisoner who's been away for 9 years would have, because the world's so different from where you're at?
I think what's really was the difficult part with transitioning is when you're serving in the military, and especially units I served in, it was like your word was your word. Like if someone's like, I'm going to do this, you didn't have to worry about it. No one's going to cut you in the back, and there wasn't anything like that. And then you kind of go out in the private sector, and people are trying to get that next thing above you, and they might manipulate things, whatever. So it's weird. So whenever I tell people when they're getting out, or I have a group to talk to a bunch of military members who are about to transition, I'm like, look around, look at your left and right. You will never have this again. And you just have to understand that it's different out there in the private sector. It's
That's
like
what
they're
we
not
say at
worried.
the cannabis events too.
Yeah.
Like enjoy it while it's lasting. Because,
Absolutely.
And you speak, I would assume, in hundreds. You go everywhere.
Yeah.
Tell me more about what it is you do.
Yeah, so our company is Hellman Valley Growers Company. Really where this came from was in 2016, I started a nonprofit called Battle Brothers Foundation to help out veterans or military members who are transitioning into the veteran life. So we do a three-tier approach of personal, medical, and economic. Personal, like big brother, big sister. Medical, VA, disability claims. We would do treatment if vets were suffering with opiate, alcohol, or post-traumatic stress, or all of the above. And then the economic phase was find a job for the veteran. Give them that sense of purpose like they did in the military so we don't lose them or they make a mistake they can't come back from. And then during the time, one of my other co-founders, Andy Myers, who I served with, he just looked really good one week. And we were drinking, we were trying to solve all of our problems at the bottom of a bottle. And I'm like, dude, what's going on with you? And he's like, listen, you ready for this one? He's like, I gave up a fifth of Jack for a joint. And you're like, what? And he's like, listen. He's like, I'm sleeping at night. I'm not drinking and driving. I'm not blacking out. And he's like, when I wake up in the morning, I feel great. And he's like, I'm actually getting into cultivation.
I haven't beat the dog in months.
And it was what he said. This was like so impactful to me. Was he goes, now it's helped me transition from a warrior to a gardener. And I'm like, all right, that's pretty big. So I tried some, got my first night of sleep in a long time. So we went to Congress and we said, what do we have to do to get this into the VA system? And they're like, you need data and you're going to need American doctors. So we partnered up with a firm out of Israel called Niamedic and also UC Irvine. And we're going to start doing cannabis research, and we got approved for an institutional review board, meaning we are cleared to do human trials. It's very expensive. We don't want to work with the federal government. We don't want to deal with NIDA over in University of Mississippi, so we have to self-fund this. So we literally looked at a Paul Newman salad dressing bottle where it goes 100% of profits to charity. We talked to our lawyer and our CPA, like, what does that mean? They're like, profits are profits. You can do what you want with it. So what we started our brand called Hellman Valley Growers Company in California, and 100% of our profits goes back to our Veteran Medical Cannabis Research Initiative. So our first $50,000 of profits paid for our study design to get approved for an IRB. So it's been really great, and what is really tremendous is how well the cannabis community has kind of embraced us. I think they were kind of looking at us like, you guys legit, but once we got the IRB,
you were almost a cop-ish.
Yeah, kind of like, hey, what's up with you?
Still
but
off that talking to my chest vibe.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm like, hey, listen, we're going to be the tip of the spear. I'm like, we can look at Congress, said, you sent us to war, now it's your turn to fix us. Well, we'll fix ourselves.
I'll tell you, what is, because a lot of people, you hear about PTSD, which they used to call shell shock, and just, but what is that like? Because nobody, if you haven't experienced it, you really can't perceive what it is that you're going through.
Mike, that's a great question. And it's almost, I always tell people, PTS is not a military issue, it's a human condition. We all can suffer from it. For me, I'm designated 100% post-traumatic stress from the VA. And listen, I sleep well at night with the guys I killed. I do not feel bad for them. They had to go. They did not deserve to breathe the same air that we breathe. So I mean, so that stuff. But
we fucked up. No. A little bit of audio technical difficulties here live at the Missouri Grow Trade Fest because we're 36 floors down in the basement and there are live crocodile and piranha swimming over our head right now. Thanks to Petey, though.
Making it happen.
So we were talking about killing people and feeling good
Yeah,
about it.
feeling good about that. Yeah, but in terms of the post-traumatic stress, for me, it was seeing like the women and children and what they were using as human shields, or it's a dirty battlefield.
You see the ugly. And
yeah.
that's your job there. And you're conditioned at a point. And I was very briefly drove by the Marines in a sense where I got a taste of the mind and the brainwashing.
Right.
And that is real. Like when they go in there, you come out a machine.
Yeah, no, they. It's definitely the thing I love about the Marine Corps is how fanatical we are. I mean, we all know our history, we all know our past. It was 10 November 1775. The Congressional Congress said we need to establish a battalion of Marines, and he went down to a bar in Philadelphia and recruited the Marines. Yeah, they went to Ton Tavern in Philadelphia, and they're like, let's get a bunch of drunk guys, and they're like, fuck it, I'll be a Marine. And that's why our birthday we drink our faces off because it's just who we are.
Yeah.
But it's just a great thing, and it's totally
kids?
different. I do have two boys.
And if they want to go into the military?
God, go into the Air Force or something. It's like
the military?
I mean, I was like, the Marine Corps, we're like America's pit bull. It's like
just kidding, Air Force, swear. Y'all go back to your desk.
And the Marines, I think, we're like the pit bull, right? They just put us in a cage and they kind of poke us, and every now and then they let us go fight someone. It's like the Air Force. I go to an Air Force training, and it's like you get like it's like the Four Seasons.
You're like a mascot. You're taking pictures when you get in.
You're like, I don't want to sleep outside. I got like a roof.
Air Force is good when you have a brain. Like, to be fair, all the smart kids went in the Air Force. And those who got the,
and they'll transition a lot better, trust me.
Easier.
So they walk into civilian life. But yeah, for me, it was just, having kids kind of triggered some post-traumatic stress for me. And, it's just, I always tell guys when they're suffering with it or people, I'm like, you never get rid of your demons. You just got to learn to live above them. And it's like every day I just deal with it. And we all have our baggage. And I just kind of have to understand and recognize it. And for me, I'm always really protective of my kids, so I got to remind myself, just back away. They are 5 and 3.
Oh yeah.
So it's like
4 and 6.
Yeah.
19, but the 4 and 6, man, you can't. My daughter.
Oh.
You can't even talk to her.
Oh,
what are
my
you looking
goodness.
at, you fucking pedo? He's like, it's your mail. Hey, just keep it moving. Keep it moving.
Yeah, so they're great. So it's just kind of like back off, let them be kids. Like they fall off the jungle gym, big deal. That's what kids do, and that's just life, So
have you seen the jungle gym now? The foam is full. It's
I know. Remember we always had like the hard canvas.
Used to be concrete.
Yeah.
And you'd put the sand in your hands to do like this, and you're gonna be an Olympic cherry bomber.
Yeah, you earned it. Like you felt it.
What is the jungle gym, the one that had made the stack like the building, and there was always one kid that was missing like 4 teeth, and they were all silver.
Yep.
And you're like, oh, that fell off this thing.
Yeah, casualty of the jungle gym.
Kid will fall off now and just bounce right back on.
Yep.
I'm okay.
They're good.
That's cool. Are you do you find yourself more strict with kids as opposed to what our parents or that generation was like?
Not really. I mean, I think
like
my wife's a hammer. I'm kind of the wuss, So
cool.
they see me, they run to me to be like, "Hey, Dad, Mom's like making us do things," and I'm like, "All right."
Hide under my biceps. They'll never find you.
Well, it's always great when you come into the house and she's like getting on the kids because they're being bad. Like I'm the Homer Simpson thing where I just want to melt back into like the bush where I'm like, I'm going back to work.
I'm total Disney dad.
Yeah.
I've never, in fact. A side note, my 4-year-old, because we talk about kids now, on the Weed Show. My 4-year-old just told her mom yesterday, she has me on a thing, and she goes, when my daddy spanks me, he hits me gently on the arm and tells me, no. But my ex-wife's Mexican, and it's much like being a Marine.
Yeah.
What's their little asses?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, how are you feeling about what's it like when you're the first person you ever helped, and you're sitting there and then you see it actually did something for them?
It's, I haven't.
What set you up? Was it by accident, or did you hey, I helped one guy with this joint?
I mean, the thing for me, I think in terms of what we did, Powder Brothers, I think the greatest victory we had is we helped out a Vietnam veteran who was suffering from Agent Orange syndrome, essentially. People in the
Air Force who don't know.
Yeah, so Agent Orange is actually, Air Force really know what that is because they're dropping all over the place. So we dropped it all over Vietnam. He was considered Blue Water Navy, so he was on the big ships. And it wasn't until 2021, this year, that they recognized Blue Water Navy as people who could suffer from that. And the guy's, he's Parkinson's, he's had his back fused, he's had brain surgery. I mean, you're basically helping the man around his house. And I'm like, listen, 100% is 100%. It doesn't matter if you're 100% push max stress, 100% you don't have a leg. It all kind of goes in the same pot, and you get the same treatment. So we got him up to 100% push max stress, and he woke up one morning, had like an extra $30,000 in his bank account. They came in like gangbusters and started refurbishing his house, got in the appropriate wheelchair, and he just started crying, saying it's like the first time people helped me. And you can't even put a monetary value on that, where you're just like, this guy went and served our country, and he's dealing with all this, bureaucratic bullshit. And we had to come through and help him finally get what he deserved, and probably 20 years too late.
I'm trying to figure out along the timeline in the military because it used to be where the fathers wanted their kid. Like, your legacy, you will go in there. As soon as you turn 14, you're enlisted, we're going to send you here. But now, everybody I speak to, for the most part, I mean, almost 99%, I deal with a lot of military, do not endorse their children going in. What do you think's changed?
Well, I think, on my level, I look at things the way my parents raised me. Like, I remember with my brother, they're really big on him with football, and they were like hammering him on the car rides home, and like, he just ended up quitting. And my mom told my dad, like, you got to back off on Bryan. And I went and had a pretty nice football career, and because I wanted it. And then I didn't want nothing to do with the military. I was going to recruit by Naval Academy. I'm like, I'm not going there. I went to UMass and whatever. But then 9/11 happened, and it pissed me off. So I'm like, I'm going to go and I'm going to do this.
You're one of those guys.
Yeah, so that's where I'm like, let them go their own path. They're going to find their way. I just want whatever they want to do, they better be the best at it. Now, if they say, Dad, I want to be a Marine, I want to be a Raider like you were, we'll have a man talk. I'll be like a beer and be like, all right, dude, I'm not your dad. I'm going to tell you how it is. We're going to get real. And if you want this, because I'll never forget, like my wife's father had me talk to.
I keep this picture in my locket. Look at Crispy here.
But it's like my wife's father, Scott, had me talk to one of his a coworker, a kid who wanted to go to the Marine Corps and he wanted to be a Raider, and my father-in-law was like, well, you got to talk to my son-in-law. And I had a very real talk with him, and he walked out and said to my father-in-law, I don't want to be a Raider. Like what those guys went through, he's like, no. He's like, I don't think I can do it.
Boot camp was a bitch.
Boot camp sucked. But I think America right now could use boot camp, where we all find out we all suck and we just kind of get rebuilt. We don't really care about race. Like we don't care about this.
Everybody should have to go to boot camp. You don't have to join the military, but you are going to do this 9 weeks because my oldest man, I can't get him to do. I don't want the dirt to touch me. Dad, 19 years old. And I'm like, listen, when I was your age, and everything starts with that. And the memory of your parents telling you when they were their age, like, okay, there's a loop going on here.
I think my mom had tears in her eyes when I actually showed her the rack I slept in, because you could literally bounce a quarter off it. Like, it was so nicely made. And she goes, you never did that ever in your life. Like, I was a slob. And she's like, now look at you. And I'm like, oh, well, I kind of didn't have a choice on this one.
Yeah, my kid's a screw up. It's definitely, I'm like, hey, you got 1 year to get a job or, do some online school. Or,
And that's a great thing, too. There are some people who are just lost, and it's like, hey, go do 4 years, and it's going to fix you up, and you're going to have a lot more opportunities and kind of right the ship a little bit. Yeah. So I think it is a good thing for that as well.
Yeah, well, that's some 4 years right there.
Oh,
somebody's got to go, though. If you got good genetics, though, get your ass out there. Built like a stand-up comic, that's not where the military is supposed to be. So how can people reach you if there's people watching and they want to get a hold of you and learn more?
Yeah, awesome. One thing.
Where are you located at?
We're out of San Diego, California.
Oh, that's where we are.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're right with you. We're about to have a micro business up in Lake Elsinore. We're about to open up. But check us out on Instagram at hvgcompany.com. You can check out Bowder Brothers at www.bowderbrothersfoundation.org. And we're very active on it. We like to keep people updated, especially with our institutional review board study we're about to launch. We want to be very transparent with everyone and let them know what we're doing. And we're going to bring in about 60 veterans from California and let them have some free cannabis and have doctors help them out with it, and hopefully rewrite history and get the medicine to the people that need it.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, thank you.
Thank you, sir. This is great.
Very much. Keep watching Cannabis Capitals. We'd like to talk. We're going to have more. Make sure you follow Bryan in everything he does. And feel free to call him any time of the day, 3, 4 a.m. He is ready for your questions. Thank you.